Hi, I'm Kenny Joya. Welcome to another one of my tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you locking in Reaper. So to turn on locking, we go up here to the toolbar and just hit this toolbar button. And that turns on locking. Or we can go up here to the options menu and go down here to locking and turn it on and off from here. Or we can use the keyboard shortcut L. And if we want to open up the settings, we could add the keyboard shortcut Shift L. That opens up this dialog. Or we could just right-click the button. That also opens up the dialog. So from this window, we're going to decide what gets locked. The first option over here is time selection. Let's turn locking off, and let's create a time selection just by grabbing up here or down here in between the items. And we could edit this time selection by grabbing the right side or the left side, or just by drawing it again from scratch. But if you want to lock this so we can't change it, just choose time selection and enable locking. Or we can just type L to toggle it on and off. So with it locked, we can't adjust the right side or the left side or draw it again. It's not going to let us because our time selection is now locked. But if we hit L again, locking is off, and now we can adjust the right side, the left side, or draw it again. Now we could also lock our loop points. Now by default, if we go to the options menu, we'll see that loop points are linked to time selection. So our time selection and our loop points are the same thing. But if we separate it right from here, we could treat them separately. We can create loop points like this and a time selection like this. So from here is going to loop, and here is our time selection. So now we could lock them completely separately. Either lock the time selection or the loop points, enable it. Now the loop points are locked, so we can't adjust them or redraw them, but we can adjust the time selection. On either side, we'll just draw it again. We'll lock them both right here. So we can't adjust the time selection or the loop points because they're locked. But that's only going to matter if we separate them right here. Otherwise, they're linked, which they are by default. Next, we have items full. Now this is going to lock all our items completely. So we can't adjust the volume, we can't trim either side, create a fade, move the items, or grab them, or split them. The only thing we could do with our items is play them, which is a great mode if someone is visiting your studio and you don't want to accidentally mess anything up. So we can still play back our project, but we can't edit anything, at least not our items. But that's a pretty drastic mode. If we want to get more specific, instead of using this one, we could choose any of them down here, starting with items prevent left-right movement. So if we choose this, we can move our items up and down to different tracks, but we can't move them left and right. And the purpose of this is to preserve the timing of our audio, or MIDI. We could still move things around and split them and delete them and fade them, change the volume and trim them. We just can't change the timing. We can't move them left or right. And it's going to work similar for this option. Items prevent up-down movement. So if we choose this, we can't move our items to different tracks. So you can grab it and move it around, fade it, change the volume, but we can't drag it to this track or grab this one and drag it to this track because we can't move them up or down. And of course, we can combine both options to prevent left and right and up and down. Let's move on to the next option. Item edges. If we choose this, we can still do everything else, like move it around, delete it, split it, and cut it, change the volume, add a fade, but we can't trim the sides on the left side or the right side because that option is locked. And we could also lock item fade and volume handles. So with this chosen, we can still do everything else, but we can't adjust the volume up here or create fades over here. We can still trim on either side. We just can't readjust the volume or fades because those options are locked. The next option is to lock our stretch markers. Let's unlock it for now. And let's create some stretch markers in here. I'll place them on some transients so we can stretch our audio like this. But if we're happy with our changes and we don't want to accidentally readjust them, turn on locking with stretch markers and it grays it out. So it's still going to work, but we can't readjust those markers. But we could unlock it if we want to. And we could also lock our item envelopes. Now this is basically used for take envelopes. So let's turn off locking. We'll select this item and right-click it, go to take, and turn on some take envelopes. Maybe we'll use the pan envelope, which puts a pan envelope right here, and we can draw it. But if we lock that parameter right here, it grays it out. So it's still going to work, but we can't edit that envelope. Unlock it, and then we can. We can do the same thing for track envelopes. Let's draw a volume envelope for our loop. Type V. We could draw in an envelope. And now if we turn on locking, it grays it out. It's still going to work, but we can't edit the envelope unless we turn locking back off. And then we can redraw it, change some points, and lock it so we can't edit it accidentally. Next, we have our regions, which are right up here. We can move them like this, or delete them, or change their boundaries. But if we turn on locking, we can't. We'll still see them, but we can't edit them, or delete them, or move them around. And it's the same thing for markers. I have a marker right here. We can drag it around, put it different places. But if we turn on locking, it grays it out, so we can't move or delete that marker. And then finally, we have the time signature markers. Let's create some tempo markers right here. Shift C, put one here and here. Now we can move these around or delete them. But if we turn on locking, we can't. Because the time signature markers are locked. Now the most common way To use these is to pick your favorites, like these two, maybe this one, and just turn them on and off as you need them. Turn locking on, and I can't move my item left or right, up or down, but I can still fade it or change the volume. But that's just the favorites that I chose. It gets more powerful if we combine this with actions. Go to the actions list, actions, show action list. Let's type in locking. We can see over here all the actions for locking. To clear the locking, or set it, or my favorite, to toggle each one. So we can choose to toggle full items, and then we can't edit anything. Hit it again, and we can do the same thing with edges, stretch markers, loop points, any of the parameters we want. We could choose them from here. Or we could assign keyboard shortcuts to any of them. Or another way we could use it is we can create a custom toolbar that has buttons for each one. So we can just click those buttons and toggle that parameter. Or if you really want to customize it, we could do it with custom actions. Just create a new one right here, search in the filter under locking, and just add the parameters you want. Maybe item edges, loop points, markers, and regions. Then we can create a custom action and trigger it with a keyboard shortcut to toggle all four of these at the same time. And we can create as many custom actions as we want, adding a different keyboard shortcut to each of them, or assigning them to a toolbar button. As you can tell, the options are endless. So that's pretty much it. That's locking in Reaper. I hope you learned something, hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.